ever get hooked on a story? Like, you just can't put it down?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, those ones that keep you up late,
Totally.
reading or scrolling online.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like the Zodiac Killer is one of those stories, for me at least.
Right.
It's a case that's captivated people for decades.
Yeah.
And for you, our listener, who loves getting into these fascinating topics without getting totally lost in the weeds,
Yeah.
that's our mission today.
Absolutely. And we've got some great sources here.
Right.
We pulled articles from biography.com and Wikipedia
Perfect.
to dive deep into this whole Zodiac thing.
Yeah.
It's an enigma, really.
It is.
We want to give you a clear and concise understanding of the case.
Right.
Like all the need-to-know facts,
Yeah.
the timeline,
Yep.
the main suspects.
It's a cold case.
Totally unsolved.
Let's jump in.
Let's do it.
So, the Zodiac Killer, as he called himself, terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area back in the late 60s and early 70s.
The late 60s, yeah.
While only 5 murders are officially linked to him.
Wow.
His own letters claimed he had way more victims, like as many as 37.
Wow. That's a huge discrepancy.
It is. And you know what's really crazy? After all these years, all the effort,
Yeah.
so many different law enforcement agencies involved,
Right.
they've never caught him.
Never identified him.
Never.
Officially.
It's wild.
What I find so fascinating is how this case became such a big deal, like culturally.
Right.
It wasn't just the murders themselves, it was the letters he sent,
Oh, yeah.
taunting the police.
The ciphers.
The ciphers, yeah, exactly.
Nobody could break them.
And they hinted at his identity. Suppose,
Supposedly. Yeah.
just this fundamental question.
Yeah.
Who was this guy?
I know who could do that.
Right.
Okay, let's go through it step by step.
Okay.
Like the timeline.
Timeline, yeah.
Starting with the confirmed murders.
Okay.
So the first one we know for sure.
Okay.
December 20th, 1968.
68.
17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen.
Oh, gosh.
They were shot and killed on Lake Herman Road in Benicia.
Okay.
And what's striking about this first one is that there's no clear motive.
Right.
Just a brutal, random act, seemingly.
I see. So that lack of a motive really sets the tone
It does.
for this feeling of randomness,
Yeah.
which adds to the fear
Yeah.
and uncertainty that kind of gripped the Bay Area.
Absolutely. And then like 6 months later,
Okay.
on the night of July 4th, going into the 5th, 1969,
69.
Darlene Farron, she was 22,
Okay.
and Michael Mageau, he was 19.
19, right?
They were shot in a parking lot
Oh, wow.
at Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo,
Okay.
so not too far from that first attack.
So close by.
Yeah, and tragically, Darlene died,
Oh, my goodness.
but Michael survived.
Okay.
So his account of what happened, even though it was affected by the trauma,
Right, of course.
became like a key piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. And what's interesting here is what happened right after the shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Within an hour,
Yeah.
the Vallejo Police Department got a phone call.
Right.
And this person claimed responsibility for both this shooting and the Lake Herman Road murders.
Oh, wow.
So that was the first real link,
Yeah.
suggesting one person was behind these seemingly random attacks.
And then fast forward to September 27th, 1969.
Okay.
A young couple, Brian Hartnell, 20 years old, Cecilia Shepard, 22,
Okay.
they were attacked at Lake Berryessa in Napa County.
Okay.
This one was particularly disturbing.
Yeah.
The killer was wearing a hood and a bib with that circle cross symbol.
Yeah.
He tied them up before stabbing them multiple times.
Oh, gosh.
Brian survived, thankfully,
Wow.
but Cecilia didn't make it.
Oh, I see. So this attack, it has all these chilling specifics.
They did.
I mean, the costume, the symbols,
Oh, yeah.
tying them up, the scabbing.
Yeah.
And then he carved a message onto Hartnell's car door, claiming responsibility.
Yeah.
And he put the dates of the other attacks.
Oh, wow.
So this pointed towards someone who was not only violent,
Yeah.
but also like the theatrics.
Right.
It's like he wanted to make a statement.
He did.
And just like the Blue Rock Springs attack, a call was made to the police,
Right.
taking credit for the crime.
It's crazy.
It is.
The last of the confirmed murders that we know of
Okay.
happened October 11th, 1969.
Okay.
Paul Stein, he was a 29-year-old taxi driver.
Okay.
He was shot and killed in San Francisco.
In the city.
Yeah, in Presidio Heights.
Gotcha.
So at first the police thought it was a robbery.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it didn't seem like the other attacks,
Right.
which were couples in more isolated places.
Yeah.
But then 2 days later,
Okay.
the San Francisco Chronicle got a letter
Okay.
claiming responsibility.
Oh, wow.
And get this.
What?
It contained a piece of Paul Stein's shirt
Oh my gosh, that's so disturbing.
I know, so this shifted everything. It wasn't just a random robbery anymore.
Right, and this shift in his MO is really interesting.
It is.
It makes you wonder about his motives.
Yeah.
Was he adapting?
Right.
Moving to a more urban environment? A solo male victim?
Totally different?
It's like he was trying to keep everyone on their toes.
Right.
But the shirt piece that tied it all together,
Yeah.
it confirmed it was him.
Now, what's truly mind-boggling about this case is that there were eyewitnesses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, teenagers who saw the guy fleeing the scene.
Oh, wow.
And they gave a description to the police.
Okay.
But here's the crazy part.
What?
The police dispatcher messed up
Oh, no.
and put out an alert for a black suspect
Oh, wow.
when the teenagers had actually described a white man.
Oh, gosh, so they were looking for the wrong guy.
Yeah, and to make it even more unbelievable,
No way.
2 patrol officers actually ran into a man
Yeah.
matching the teenager's description.
Wow.
Walking away from the scene
Well, wait.
like moments after the murder.
Seriously?
And they even asked him if he'd seen anything suspicious.
Wow, what did he say?
He just calmly pointed them in the opposite direction.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Seriously, they unknowingly talked to the Zodiac.
That's insane.
I know, right?
That's got to be so frustrating for those officers.
I know.
And the investigators later on.
Yeah, to know they were that close.
It's like a missed opportunity of epic proportions.
It is, but okay, alongside these horrific murders, the Zodiac also engaged in this whole campaign of communication.
Right, the letters.
The letters, the symbols.
The ciphers is where you really see the psychological complexity.
Totally.
This wasn't just about the violence for him.
Yeah.
He wanted to control the narrative, taunt the authorities, and stay in the public eye.
It's like he wanted to be famous.
In a twisted way, yeah.
Okay, so it all started August 1st, 1969.
Okay.
The San Francisco Examiner, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the Vallejo Times-Herald.
3 major newspapers.
Yeah, they all got the same handwritten letter. It started with, "Dear Editor, I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman."
Chilling.
And he included all these details.
About the murders.
Yeah, things only the killer would know.
Wow.
And he demanded that they print the letters on the front page.
Or
he would kill more people that weekend.
Oh my gosh.
And he signed each letter with that circle cross symbol,
Right.
which nobody knew what it meant at that time.
Right.
And get this, each letter also had a piece of a cipher.
A cipher.
Yeah, they called it the Z408.
The Z408, okay.
And he claimed his identity was hidden in it.
Wow, so if they could crack the code, they'd know who he was.
That's what he said.
And what happened?
Okay, just a few days later, August 4th,
Okay.
the Examiner got another letter.
Oh, wow.
This one started with, "Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking."
Oh my gosh, I've heard that phrase.
It's iconic.
It is, it's chilling.
Right. This letter gave even more details about the murders and taunted the police.
Like he was enjoying it.
Yeah, enjoying their inability to catch him.
So he's really building his persona now.
He is.
He's not just a killer, he's the Zodiac.
The Zodiac, right?
And he's playing this twisted game.
Yeah, with the media and the police.
And he's getting the recognition he seems to crave.
Absolutely. Now, then came a breakthrough, kind of.
What happened?
A high school teacher named Donald Hardin
Okay.
and his wife Betty, they figured out the Z408 cipher.
Well, they cracked the code.
They did, and the message was truly disturbing.
What did it say?
It talked about how much he enjoyed killing.
Oh my gosh.
He said it was more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all.
Oh, wow.
And he went on about wanting slaves in the afterlife.
That's so creepy. What a messed up thing to say.
I know, and there was a specific reference to a short story
Oh, yeah.
called The Most Dangerous Game.
Oh, I know that one.
You know it.
Yeah, it's about hunting humans.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. So he saw himself as this ultimate predator.
It seems like it.
Like he was playing God.
Yeah, so after the murder of Paul Stein,
Yeah, the taxi driver.
yeah, on October 13th,
Okay.
the Chronicle got another letter.
Another one.
This one claimed the Stein murder,
Okay.
and it had a bloody piece of Stein's shirt in it.
That's awful.
And he threatened to attack a school bus.
A school bus?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, targeting children, that's a whole other level.
It is. It really ramped up the fear.
And the pressure on the police.
Absolutely.
To catch this guy.
Like he could target anyone.
It's like he wanted to be seen as this unstoppable force.
Right, and he kept sending these letters for a few more years.
More ciphers.
More ciphers, claiming more victims.
Taunting the police.
Mocking the investigation, basically.
And then what?
Then, in 1974, the letters stopped.
Just like that.
Just like that?
Leaving everyone hanging.
Yeah, it just added to the mystery.
Total silence.
But one of the ciphers,
Oh, yeah.
the Z340, which he sent November 8th, 1969,
Okay.
it remained unsolved for decades.
Decades. Wow.
Yeah, until 2020.
What happened in 2020?
A team of code breakers finally cracked it.
Oh, wow. They figured it out after all this time.
They did, and while it didn't reveal his identity, it did give more insight into his mind.
Really?
Yeah, like he denied being this guy, Sam.
Sicko.
Yeah, who had been on a local talk show claiming to be the Zodiac.
Oh, wow. So a copycat?
Maybe, or maybe he was just messing with them.
Right, trying to throw him off.
Exactly.
So the Z340 didn't solve the case.
No.
But it did give some clues.
It did.
About his thinking.
Exactly.
And it shows how this case still fascinates people.
Absolutely.
Like, people are still trying to solve it after all these years.
Right, and there are other letters and ciphers, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like bomb diagrams.
Bomb diagrams.
Yeah, the Z13 cipher.
What was that one?
That one just said, my name is Psycha, and then 13 characters.
So like another code to break?
Yeah, but nobody's figured it out yet.
Still unsolved.
Then there was the Z32 cipher with a map.
A map?
Yeah, it pointed to Mount Diablo, and supposedly it showed where a bomb was buried.
A buried bomb.
Yeah, but they never found anything.
Oh, wow.
There was this creepy Halloween card sent to Paul Avery.
Who was Paul Avery?
Who was a journalist.
Okay.
Who was covering the case.
Okay.
And the card said, "Peekaboo, you are doomed."
That's so creepy.
I know. And the last letter, the Exorcist letter.
Exorcist.
Yeah, it was sent in 1974.
Okay.
And in it, he claimed to have killed 37 people.
37. Wow.
Which we don't know if that's true or not.
Right. It's hard to know with him.
It is, but it's a lot of victims.
It's a terrifying thought.
It is. So the big question is, who was the Zodiac Killer?
The million-dollar question, right.
And after decades of investigations, countless theories, nobody knows for sure.
It's incredible.
Nobody has ever been definitively identified or arrested.
It's a mystery that endures.
It does, and there have been some high-profile suspects over the years.
Right, but it's important to remember, without an arrest or solid proof.
Yes.
These are just theories.
Theories. Right.
Some are more convincing than others.
Absolutely. So one of the most well-known suspects is Arthur Lee Allen.
Arthur Lee Allen, okay.
His name really became a big deal because of Robert Graysmith's books.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
In that Netflix documentary, this is the Zodiac speaking.
Right, I saw that.
You saw it?
Yeah, it was really well made.
It was. So Allen was questioned by the police a bunch of times.
Okay.
But his fingerprints didn't match the ones they found.
Where?
At the Stein murder scene.
Okay.
And DNA tests later on ruled him out.
Okay.
But a lot of investigators and researchers still considered him a suspect.
Right. He had that prior conviction.
Yeah, as a sex offender.
Which unfortunately fits a pattern.
It does.
That you see in some serial killer cases.
And the Netflix doc presented some new allegations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from people who knew Allen.
Like who?
Members of the Seawater family.
Okay.
They talked about unsettling things.
Like what?
Trips to places that later became Zodiac crime scenes.
Oh, wow.
And even a deathbed confession.
Oh, my gosh, where he admitted to being the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Wow, so that's pretty damning.
It is. And he was a former teacher who got fired for misconduct.
Oh, wow.
And he owned a Zodiac watch.
The Zodiac watch.
Yeah, with a logo really similar to the killer's symbol.
Wow, so there's all this circumstantial evidence.
There is.
But the DNA and handwriting didn't match.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
It is. It makes it really hard to definitively link him to the crimes.
It does. Now, another suspect who got a lot of attention was Earl Van Best Jr.
Earl Van Best Jr., okay.
Gary L. Stewart, in his book, The Most Dangerous Animal of All,
okay,
claimed that his father was the Zodiac.
His father?
Yeah, he said he looked just like that police sketch.
Oh, wow, the one that was circulated everywhere.
That one, but the documentary based on Stewart's book actually ended up casting doubt on his evidence.
Oh, really?
Yeah, investigators found inconsistencies and potential problems with police reports, and there was evidence that Van Best was in Europe.
During the murders?
Yeah, during some of the Zodiac's confirmed crimes.
Oh, wow, so that would rule him out?
It would, and the DNA and handwriting evidence was also challenged.
By experts?
Yeah.
So another dead end?
Pretty much.
Wow, this is getting complicated.
It is. And then there's Gary Francis Post.
Okay.
He was named as a suspect in 2021.
2021, so pretty recently.
Yeah, by this group of former law enforcement investigators.
Okay.
They call themselves the case breakers.
The case breakers, I see.
And they pointed to DNA evidence.
Where was the DNA found?
At the scene of Cherry Joe Bates' murder.
Oh, from 1966?
Yeah, and they said Post's shoe size and forehead scars.
Cars.
Yeah, visible in old photos.
Okay.
Matched evidence from the crime scenes.
Interesting.
And they also claimed to find anagrams of his name.
Anagrams.
Yeah.
Like hidden messages.
Right, hidden in the Zodiac letters.
Oh, wow. That's pretty creative.
It is, but law enforcement was skeptical of their theory.
Oh, really? Why?
Mainly because Cherry Joe Bates isn't officially recognized as a Zodiac victim.
Right.
So there are some connections.
Yeah.
But a lot of investigators aren't convinced.
It's understandable. They need solid evidence.
Exactly. And we can't forget about Louis Myers.
Louis Myers, okay.
He apparently confessed to being the Zodiac
To who?
to a friend right before he died in 2002.
A deathbed confession?
Yeah, but like a lot of leads in this case. There's no real evidence to back it up.
Right. Just his word.
Pretty much. And with so many suspects and theories.
Right. It's a lot to keep track of.
It is. Some people even think there might have been multiple killers.
Multiple Zodiacs.
Yeah, the Peacock docuseries Myth of the Zodiac Killer explored that idea.
Interesting.
They pointed to differences in the weapons used, the way the crimes were committed.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, the types of victims, and even discrepancies in eyewitness accounts.
So maybe it wasn't just one person?
Maybe not. And there are even more names out there.
Really?
Yeah, like Paul Dorer, Richard Gaikowski,
Gotcha.
and Lawrence Kane.
Wow. It seems like everyone's a suspect.
I know. It's crazy.
It really highlights how tough this case is.
It does, and how there's so much room for interpretation.
Right. Different people see the evidence in different ways.
Exactly, and it leads to all these different theories.
So we have the 5 confirmed victims,
Right?
but there's also this whole list of suspected victims
There is.
that could be connected to the Zodiac.
It just adds another layer of complexity.
For sure.
And darkness to the whole thing.
Totally. And the Zodiac himself claimed a lot more victims in his letters.
He did.
And there are unsolved murders from that time
Right.
that share some similarities with the confirmed Zodiac killings.
Absolutely. So let's go through some of them.
Okay.
First, there's the murder of Raymond Davis in 1962.
Okay.
He was a taxi driver in Oceanside.
A taxi driver?
Yeah, and it's really similar to the Paul Stein murder.
How so?
Well, they were both cab drivers.
Okay.
Both shot with a .22 caliber. And there were those creepy calls to the police.
Haunting them.
Yeah, and one call even threatened bus drivers.
Wow, which is something the Zodiac did later.
Exactly.
So it could be connected.
It could be. Then there's Robert Domingos and Linda Edwards.
Okay.
They were killed on a beach near Santa Barbara in 1963.
1963.
And they were shot with a .22 caliber too.
Okay.
And there was evidence they tried to tie them up.
Like with rope?
Yeah, with pre-cut rope.
Oh, wow. Just like at Lake Berryessa?
Exactly. And the ammo they used was traced back to the same lot number as some found near a military base.
Wow. That's a pretty specific connection.
It is. And the Santa Barbara sheriff at the time,
Yeah.
he said there was a high degree of probability of Zodiac involvement.
So he thought it was likely.
Yeah,
That's pretty significant coming from law enforcement.
it is. Then there's Johnny Ray and Joyce Ann Swindle,
Okay.
a newlywed couple killed in 1964 in San Diego.
Oh, wow. On their honeymoon.
Yeah, they were shot with a .22 caliber.
Again with the 22.
Right. Shot from a distance and then close up.
Wow.
And the crazy thing is, the brand of watch found at the Cherry Joe Bates crime scene.
Cherry Joe Bates.
Yeah, we'll get to her in a minute.
Right.
But the brand of watch was the same as the one taken from Johnny Swindle.
Wow. So that's another possible link.
It is.
And who is this Cherry Joe Bates?
Okay, so her murder in 1966 is one of the most talked about.
Oh, really? Why?
Because there's a lot of circumstantial evidence.
Linking her to the Zodiac.
Yeah, there was a typewritten confession sent to the police.
Okay.
A creepy poem found in a library.
A poem.
Yeah, and it had similar language to the Zodiac's letters.
Interesting.
And the Zodiac even mentioned Riverside activity in one of his letters.
Riverside sign.
Yeah, that's where Bates was killed.
Oh, wow. So he was referencing it.
It seems like it, but there's no definitive proof.
It's frustrating.
It is.
So many almost connections.
Right. And then there's Kathleen Johns.
Right.
She was abducted in 1970. Yeah, after a stranger messed with her car.
Oh, wow.
And she later identified the Paul Stein killer.
From the police sketch.
Yeah, as her abductor.
Oh, my gosh. So that's a direct link to the Zodiac?
It could be, and he even mentioned an abduction.
in one of his letters.
Yeah, in a later letter.
Wow, he was taunting them again.
He was.
And there's more.
There is Richard Redtich.
Okay.
He was a San Francisco police officer.
Okay.
Shot in his parked car in 1970.
Shot.
Yeah, with a .38 caliber.
Okay.
And the Zodiac had mentioned a shooting with a .38 in one of his letters.
Oh, wow. So that lines up.
It does. And then there's Donna Lass.
Cool.
She disappeared in 1970.
Disappeared.
Yeah. And there was this postcard sent to Paul Avery, the journalist.
Right.
It seemed to reference Donna Lass as a victim.
Oh, wow. So he might have taken her?
It's possible. And just this year, 2023.
This year?
A skull found near Emigrant Gap was identified as hers.
Oh, wow. So they finally found her.
They did, but it's still unclear if the Zodiac was involved.
It's a tragic end to her story.
It is, and we should also mention the astrological murders.
Astrological murders.
Yeah, and the Santa Rosa hitchhiker murders.
Okay.
Both from the early 70s.
Okay.
And some people think they could be connected to the Zodiac.
Why?
Because of the time frame.
Oh.
And some similarities in the crimes.
But again, it's speculation.
It is, so it's a long list of potential victims.
It is. It really shows how much fear he created.
Absolutely.
Across Northern California.
Yeah, and without more evidence.
Right.
We just don't know for sure which of these cases, if any, were really his.
It's a puzzle with missing pieces.
It is. So what about now? What's been happening with the case in recent years?
You know, it might seem like a cold case.
Right.
But law enforcement hasn't totally given up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the San Francisco Police Department.
Okay.
They actually marked the case inactive in 2004.
Really?
Yeah, but then because of public pressure and internal pressure,
Okay.
they reactivated it in 2007.
Wow, so it's still open.
It is.
That's good to know.
And the FBI is also still investigating.
Really?
Yeah, they haven't given up either.
That's good.
There have been attempts to use new technology, too.
Like what?
Well, in 2018, the Vallejo Police Department tried using GED Match.
What's that?
It's a public genealogy database.
Okay.
They were hoping to find a DNA match.
You're the Zodiac.
Yeah, like a relative or something.
Oh, wow.
But unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Oh, that's too bad.
It is. But it shows they're still trying.
Absolutely.
And as we talked about before, that Z340 cipher being solved in 2020,
right.
That was a big deal.
It was, even though it didn't reveal his name.
Right, but it's still a major development.
It shows that people are still fascinated by this case.
Absolutely.
And they're still working to solve it.
It's a true mystery that captures the imagination.
It does. So let's wrap this up for our listeners.
Okay.
Who I know like to get to the heart of the matter quickly.
Right to the point.
So the Zodiac Killer. He's one of America's most infamous unsolved serial killers.
Absolutely.
We have those 5 confirmed murders.
In the late 60s, early 70s.
Those chilling letters.
With the threats and the taunts.
The complex ciphers.
Some still unsolved.
And that symbol.
The circle and the cross.
That everyone recognizes.
Even if they don't know the details of the case.
Exactly. And after all these years, all the suspects, Arthur Lee Allen, Earl Van Best Jr., Gary Francis Post.
Right. And many others.
Nobody.